Welcome everyone, Kyle here, and welcome back to the channel for a tough video. A tough video to do, as I literally 5 minutes ago walked in the front door of my house. I was in Texas for work this week, and I was in Dallas, Texas, and I just got off the plane. They said you can turn your cell phones back on, and I turned my cell phone on, and I have a ton of messages about Terry Funk passing away. Just absolutely insanity. And as you can see here, this is what I wore today. This is what I wore. Terry Funk hat, Terry Funk shirt. Every time I go to Texas, I only wear Terry Funk stuff and Waylon Jennings stuff. And very fitting, I was wearing Terry Funk stuff today. And Terry passed away, as we did say. So very shocking to say the least, but not shocking at the same time, as we knew Terry had some challenges going on. But just no matter what, it always just hits you. And Terry Funk, one of the corners, one of the pillars of my life in a lot of ways. As you guys know on this channel, I talk about all kinds of stuff, but there's certain things that really do mean a lot to me. And obviously you got the Ultimate Warrior, you got Lemmy, you got Terry Funk, and you got a good friend of the channel, my dad. So you got the four pillars right there. And three of those pillars are gone now. And it's wild to think that your favorites you grew up watching when you were a kid in high school and college into your adulthood that were always there, always cool stuff going on, are totally gone now. Just absolutely wild. I don't know. I still can't really, I'm still in shock. I really feel like I got the wind knocked out of me. I haven't had that feeling in a long time. Ever since I was a kid, I don't know when the last time I got my wind knocked out of me, but just definitely sad, just sad. I mean, Terry Funk was so cool, and you know, I've told stories about it before, but I got to meet Terry Funk on 3 different occasions, and I actually got to spend a whole weekend working as his handler, whatever you want to call it. We worked his table, I helped him get around, do things at the Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame up in Waterloo, Iowa, and got to always thank Troy Peterson, good friend, Troy Peterson, who runs Impact Pro Wrestling in the Midwest, big part of that weekend. And Troy and I go way back. I don't even know how many years Troy and I have been friends, but when he got a hold of Terry Funk that he was coming for the whole weekend, he knew, and I will never forget this. I will never forget it. He said, "Kyle, I got a job for you, and I think you're the guy for it." And I said, "Well, okay, what is it?" And he said, "I want you to be Terry Funk's handler for the weekend." And I couldn't have rose my hand fast enough, and it's truly one of the greatest weekends of my entire life. I will never forget that. Now, I did get to meet Terry Funk a couple prior years at that Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame, and Terry was always so awesome to me. Obviously, the first time I could barely talk. I had to put my tongue up off the floor, but man, I got to tell him how much he meant to me and how big of a fan I was. And I'm sure millions of people have done that, and I'm no different than anybody else. But to just be able to tell that to Terry face to face and thank him for what he did. And I'm of an age bracket where I missed most of Terry Funk's WWF run back in the day. Maybe that's not a bad thing. He did have some good matches, of course. I've later seen all of those. But Terry Funk got on my radar in the NWA with the I Quit match against Ric Flair. And I'll never forget that day of that Clash of the Champions. My parents and I and my sister, we were at a pizza restaurant. Oh, pizza. Sign me up. Give me a pizza. And there'll be more pizza talk in this video with Terry Funk. But I'll never forget, we went to the pizza restaurant, and Clash of the Champions, it started at like 7:05, I think my time is when it started, 7:05. So we're there, and the clock's ticking. I'm looking at the clock. I'm little Kyle. I'm like 8 years old, probably 8 years old, I think I was. And I could tell time at 8 years old. And this is old school time with the old clocks. And I'm looking and I'm seeing the time ticking. And it's getting closer to Clash of the Champions. Now, you're a little kid, Kyle, you don't know. Or you do know, but you don't want to take any chances. Obviously, that was going to be the main event. That's going to be in like the 9 o'clock hour, 8:45, whatever it may be. So there was plenty of time. But not in little Kyle's mind. Little Kyle said, "Dad, I got to go. I've got to leave. I cannot sit here." And I remember sprinting from this pizza restaurant. There was thankfully a bike trail that went all the way to my house that I could follow, and I knew the way. Kids of the 80s, we knew the streets. We were street kids. We knew where to go. And I left that pizza restaurant, and I went beelining to my house to get in there because I needed to see the I Quit match with Ric Flair and Terry Funk. And still one of the top matches of all time. I love Ric Flair as well, but Terry Funk was my guy. That was the beginnings of him being my guy. Then he went off into the sunset a little bit after that, you know, just a few little things, and that was it until ECW. And that was my high school years with ECW, and I just that is where my lifelong fandom of Terry Funk really hit home. I was a huge fan, but that made me a deeper fan. And then, of course, the internet. Finally getting the internet and going back and watching everything and tape trading with the Japan tapes and all that stuff and seeing his whole career. You could gush forever about Terry Funk, possibly the greatest pro wrestler of all time. Yes, I love the Ultimate Warrior, but Terry Funk, I mean, just a different level than the Ultimate Warrior. I love the Ultimate Warrior for a lot of reasons, but pure wrestling reasons, Terry Funk will be always my guy. Just heartbreaking today. So I have so many Terry Funk stories, memories of those. The ECW, I'll never forget Born to Be Wired, like AOL chat rooms back in the day, if people are long enough to remember those. I remember sitting, reading play-by-play of Born to Be Wired with Sabu and Terry Funk, and just reading it and doing it in your head, like, what? Sabu, he's taping his arm up, he cut it open. Just absolute wild stuff like that back before, you know, nowadays you can get everything you want whenever you want it. But back then, man, you had to search stuff out, and that was an amazing moment. But then met Terry Funk, like I said, but I got to spend a weekend with Terry Funk, and that was the most important weekend. And Terry was great to me. We had a lot of fun stories, talking about things, talking business tips about some things, and some of the stocks he was doing, and some of the stuff he was going to sell. And I said, Terry, here's why you don't do that. And I don't know, I never got to talk to Terry again after that long weekend, but I always wondered, you know, did he sell the stock that we were talking about, or did he not? And if he did not sell it, like I told him, Terry, whatever you do, don't sell that, he made an absolute fortune about 3 months later. So I don't know what happened with that. That'd be interesting to know, and I'll probably never find the answer out to that. But Terry was great, spent the whole weekend with him. Mick Foley, you know, obviously Terry and Mick Foley, a deep friendship there. So Mick Foley was around us a lot, and that's where the story I've told a million times, getting to eat pizza with Terry Funk and Mick Foley. Like, is this real life? Cactus Jack, I've been a Cactus Jack fan since GWF days. Terry Funk right around that same time as well. And to be able to just sit there and eat pizza. Shout out to Doughy Joey's up there in Waterloo, Iowa. And just to get to sit there and see them interact and see them talk. I mean, like two deep friends talking that you have a lot of respect for. Just absolutely wild. Wild to see that. So, you know, it's something I'll never ever forget. And be able to share that same pizza and have a slice from that pizza. I probably had 3 slices. I'm sure I did. Just absolute wild. Absolute wild. I remember Terry Funk telling me he liked my style I was wearing. Of course, Cowboy Kyle had to show up for Terry Funk. Had my Western wear on. My Carmen Kenny Rogers Western shirts. Yeah, I'll never forget that though. Sitting at the table and then, you know, taking the money for the fans and being the bad guy. You know, that's what you have to do when you're a handler, if that's what you want to call it. No, pictures are $20. No, photos are $20. You know, 40, 35 for both or whatever it was. And people wanted to argue and stuff. And no, and then sometimes Terry making me be the bad guy. I mean, all in good fun, but just a great time sitting there talking with Terry. You know, just conversing with somebody like that and getting to spend a whole weekend. And Terry, we're going over here. Terry, the bathroom's over here. Terry, here's the skywalk to the hotel. Just wild to remember that time, and just absolutely wild today. Like I said, getting off, I was in Texas the last couple of days, and whenever I'm in Texas, I'm always not too far from Denton, so I'm always thinking of the Von Erichs, and I'm always thinking of, man, I want to go to Amarillo. I wish there was a way I could get to Amarillo and just feel the air, feel that Amarillo air. Amarillo by morning. I don't know. So close but so far is always what it's been. I've never been to Amarillo, but maybe one of these days. But just being that whole scene there and being in Texas today and just hanging out in Texas and thinking of Terry Funk as you're in Texas and in the airport, like, man, how many times do you think Terry Funk's been in this airport in his life? And just, that's the kind of things I think about, which is maybe really weird. And wearing Terry Funk shirt, wearing Terry Funk hat, and of course you always get compliments in Texas, or at least I do with the Terry Funk. Hey, nice shirt, Terry Funk, the greatest. Getting some of that today, and you know, everything's great and you're thinking about it. And Terry just had his birthday recently, and you know, everyone's a gift at that point. I knew Terry was in bad health, but man, I didn't expect it anytime soon, and I guess you never do. And it's wild, and you know, I don't know, just kind of a loss for words. Just absolutely wild, just wild. But and then to get off the plane and you literally get that pilot where he says you can turn your phones back on, and my phone literally exploding. Just a weird deal, and just like my jaw dropping and like somebody punched me in the stomach. It's just, man, just tough. But I don't know. It was just a fun video. It's just a fun video, isn't it? I don't know. I don't got anything else to say. That's it. That's just my first thoughts. I just felt like I had to because thank you, you guys, all you guys and gals, a few gals too. There's a few gals, but I got so many messages immediately. My phone just blowing up, and I guess I must convey my love for Terry Funk because a lot of people said that I was the first thing they thought of, which is pretty cool to think that I'd even be in the same breath as Terry Funk. Just wild wild stuff. But yeah, just a sad day. I don't know, but you know, tomorrow we usually do our top 10. You know, I'm tired, I got a lot to do, but one thing, I'm gonna put everything to the side. I gotta go help my dad for something, and then I'm going to do a top 10 Terry Funk video, and I'm gonna get that thing out tomorrow because I was waiting for 50,000 subscribers for Terry Funk. Unfortunately, we didn't make that when he was still alive, and that was really my goal, was 50,000, the ultimate Terry Funk top 10. But man, if there's ever a time to do a Terry Funk top 10, just to get to celebrate it and kind of reminisce and look at figures of old, and you know, I was hoping by the time 50,000 subscribers hit, we'd have some more Terry Funk figures or some things in the works. But we got more than 10 right now, and I definitely want to do those, want to talk about those. I mean, I don't know. I just feel like I need to do it. Just feel like I need to do it. So coming from the heart. So there it is. Somber day. But man, Terry, thanks for everything. There's no doubt about it. Words can't express all the hours of entertainment and the passion and everything else. So it is. And it's just sad day for wrestling. Sad day for fandoms. A sad day all around. So there you have it. Different video. I don't know if we did anything. I don't know if we accomplished much right here, but wanted to put it out in respect and in honor of the great Terry Funk.